Hello again from the Chintan chats. And this time we have something slightly unusual to talk about. Our guest is Major General Arvind Yadav, who is, as you can see, not just an army officer, but actually a really keen bird watcher and a really keen naturalist. And what's so interesting about Major General Yadav is that he's been posted all over the country and he's managed to see a lot of types of terrain, and he spent long years studying what happens on the field and correlating it scientifically with other phenomenon. So as we approach winter, it's a great time to talk about birds, about bird watching. And thank you so much for making the time for us today. I know you've been really, really busy and it's been very difficult for you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, I'm not very busy for birds at any given time. And thank you so much for giving me this portal. Let's see if we can do some justice.
Yes, we will.
Where you have in mind?
Yes, we will talk.
And I'm scared.
No, don't be scared.
Never been scared of enemies. But camera is rather new to me.
The camera is new, but the camera is an ally.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's just begin. We are in December and this is winter. Although it's a mild winter, it's still winter. And generally, people who are even a little bit interested in nature say there are lots of birds, unless you're in the Himalayas, there are lots of birds in the rest of the country that are new, that come into India. And that's the season to see birding. So can you tell us a little more about this whole phenomenon of seeing more birds in the winter?
The geography divides humans. It doesn't divide the birds and the animals. And they are basically looking for food, environment where they can survive. So the birds which are in Palearctic region where it's minus 20, 40 Siberians, they have to move out. Not only because there is no food, they can't survive in that temperatures. And they just finish their breeding at that particular given time. So in September, nearby September, their chicks are ready to fly, so they have to move out. So they are moving for food. The high altitude birds in Himalayas, again the same thing. As the altitude rises, the chill rises. So they have to come down for food. So winters is the right time when we can see these birds in our habitat without visiting their place. So we have more birds in winters because the local birds are joined by these migratory birds, whether the migration is international or migration is within the country.
So how many birds can one expect at peak season to find in India, to count?
Total, including our own birds. Actually, nobody can say these are our own birds. They are breeding there, but they are spending 6 months here, 6 months there. In Indian subcontinent, maybe about 1500 species. But if you speak of India, people have recorded about 1300 species.
That's quite a lot of birds.
That's quite a lot of birds because total there are about 10,000 species.
Exactly. So it's about
We have
12%.
12% of the entire bird population of the globe.
So you've traveled all over. You've been to Mao and then, to Sikkim, of course, to Delhi, all kinds of places. So my question really to you is, what does it take to be a bird watcher?
I'll give you just one answer. You need to be passionate about it.
But how do you stumble into it?
I have a genetic linkage. My father was a professor of zoology. So when we were small, when children were reading comics, we were going through books on natural history and birds and animals. So it touches over there. Later on, the service didn't allow time and effort to get into it. So in about 2014 or so, when I was in Jammu, those genes came up again back. And I started off, and then 17 I came to Delhi, and it actually started from that point of time when I met people and I came to know that this is what it is. I had no idea.
So you were telling us about how you were actually got interested, and then in 2017 you realized this is something. What do you think a basic birder should have? Should they have binoculars? Is a camera essential? How do you jump into this? How do you prepare?
I'll tell you what. I mean, birder is a very broad term.
Yeah.
And recently, in about 7, 8 years, things have changed.
Yeah.
Now, birding has one definition, it's bird watching. So you watch birds.
Yeah.
Now, the definition changes with your aim. You're doing it for what? Some people want to get out of the daily routine stress. So, on a weekend, stress busting, a recreational activity. So, you go around, see some birds, and come back. So, that's a recreational thing. Some people are into study. So they are a little more serious. They want to know which species who are coming there. A little different. Some people are only into photography. You know, the bird is a wonderful subject for photograph. It's beautiful, colorful, dynamic. So it gives them a good subject. So they are photographers. They have nothing to do with what the bird looks like, what it is. It should be a beautiful bird. The light should be good. The background should be good. So they are into photography. There are some people who are networking people. So they're just going there for networking. There are some people who are studying the birds. They are into ornithology. So you'll find them writing down notes and doing the other things. And some people are there because others are there. So there are so many definitions of birders which have arisen. Now these cameras are available so cheaply. They are digital cameras. You see,
Yeah.
I come back after 3 hours of birding and I have 2000 photographs. In 1 hour, I sift that to 20 photographs. I couldn't do it when I had the real cameras.
Too
So
expensive.
costly and so difficult to do also.
Yeah.
Then you don't need that kind of a skill also. These days, cameras do everything. You put it on auto and they do everything. And then we have the latest variety of the social media birders.
Yeah.
Click it, put it on the social media, few likes, and that's the end of it. There are some people and there is, the personal goals of clicking how many species, that number game which goes on that e-bird, the
Absolutely.
lifer count, what we
Yeah.
call it. Initially, generally people start from there. We started from there. We have gone through that same rut. But then sooner you realize better it is. So different kinds of birders. But the only one thing required is passion.
That is absolutely
You
true.
see a monal also and a crow also with the same passion, you are a birder. Otherwise, you are one of those in that list.
Absolutely. Now tell me what you've seen in so many parts and you've been birding for a while now. And, what is really changing on the ground? You must have seen shifts because we are reading, there's more and more information about bird. What have you personally seen in birds that is changing?
Things have changed on number of fronts. One is the fast development which is taking place. So the habitats are going down. Land is being reclaimed.
Which bird is being hit by this?
Number of birds are hit by this. This is your all migratory water birds. Generally, our migratory birds are 90% water birds and 10% the forest birds. So the water birds require a kind of level water, some kind of fish food into it. If they don't find it, they will not stay here.
Yeah.
So the landscape is changing. It's development coming up more. Land is being reclaimed. Water levels are going down. The habitat which is fit for that bird. Maybe he stays here, it's a passage migrant. He stays for a day, 7 days, 10 days. He is not finding it. So he will go left, right. He's a flyer. He need not be staying here. He's staying here only because he finds it conducive to
Absolutely.
stay here.
Absolutely.
So the habitat is changing. It's changing for bad. It's being destroyed. Second part was the kind of chemicals we are using in our agriculture that is changing the whole scene because that food is not edible by the birds directly as well as indirectly because there are no insects. So we are denying him carbohydrates and protein both. That's killing. So that is changing. Third is lot of awareness is there. So I see a lot of people doing birding. What they are doing out of that category, I have no idea. But every time I go there, there are new faces. So more people are getting involved. It is good also, bad also. It works both the ways. Thirdly, the weather phenomena is dynamic. This time you see the winters. There are no winters.
Yeah.
We had recently on 1st December we had the bird count.
Yeah.
It was very dismal show.
Tell me
Both
why.
both in diversity and density. Though there were some good species, but I have been doing it for last about 7-8 years here. It was nowhere near that. When we used to have flocks of 50, 60 cranes, it was difficult to see two of them because the habitat. Nobody will stay if there is nothing to eat, or when you have reclaimed the land.
Yeah.
And when the water in which they used to eat, they put a net over it and they are having fishing into it.
Yeah.
So you will see those birds hanging into the net. So why should they stay here? Then the camera people have increased. The access has increased. You'll go a place called Aravlis in Sakatpur in South Gurgaon. There were tracks. We used to bird so well. Now there is a Pakka road. So these days there are motorcyclists there.
I see.
Things are changing there.
Things are changing.
The dhabas have opened up. So there
What
are-
birds are you seeing very few of now? In the last 2-3 years, have you observed some decline in numbers from your own lived experience?
Yeah, the cranes have declined. Both the common crane used to come in good numbers. The demoiselle crane used to come in good numbers. Both have declined. Even the raptors. When the waders and the ducks will not come, then the raptors will not come. They come because that is their food. So the birds of prey will not come if the prey is not there. What will they do there? So overall, they are all interconnected. So the density and diversity both are connected. One decreases, the second decreases.
Absolutely. And you sound quite pessimistic about the future of habitat and birds.
Unfortunately, yes, it is.
It is.
It is. Who cares for life of even humans here?
Yeah.
So birds come quite low in the priority. In the order, birds are quite low. And every stage, every type of people are hitting out on that. It's not only birds, it's the nature which is getting sorted out nicely. It is actually for the resources. The rich people want more money, so they are exploiting. The poorest people have to survive, so they exploit to survive day by day. It is only the middle class which is busy in their own meddling things of life. But otherwise, it's very, very difficult. And for a complete nature, for all wildlife, including birds, the future is not very good. I don't know when we'll realize.
But if we realize there's not much you can do,
There's not much you can do.
are you expecting species extinctions
Yes, certainly it will.
in our own lifetime?
Certainly it will. Certainly it is going to, because you see how the birds are the miracle of nature. Why? Because they are the wonders of adaptation, of evolution. The fastest evolving organism on earth is a bird. The chicken, what
Yeah.
you eat?
Yeah.
Who is the predecessor? You saw that movie, the dinosaur movie, Jurassic Park. So there was the biggest one
Yeah.
was the T-Rex.
Yeah.
The genes of T-Rex are there in the chicken.
Wow.
So imagine, from that big bang, we have come from the T-Rex to a chicken. They evolve so very fast. So the birds are evolving as per changing situation. We call it need-based adaptation. It is adapting to the changed habitat. But for how long and how fast?
Yeah.
We are changing the habitat and the natural scenery so fast with our development, with our chemicals, that it's not able to cope up.
Absolutely.
When it's not able to cope up, it is certainly going to get extinct at some point of time.
Yeah, that's.
But you see, the lack of diversity and density is not a major issue to be worried of, because they are flying people. They have no knowledge of what is Gurgaon, Delhi, or Rajasthan, or Gujarat. Okay, if they don't find food here, they will find 5 kilometers ahead or 10 kilometers ahead. So they are not coming here, but they are going somewhere else. But this demon of development, and I'll call not the development, but a blind development, is spreading everywhere. in the same way.
Yeah.
So that is a major issue. So it will take some more time.
So, what has been the most spectacular sighting of your life till now?
Spectacular sighting of my life. Very difficult to say because I see everything with full love and gusto. At about 18,000 feet in North Sikkim, just ahead of the Guru Dongmar Lake, where I was looking for the Tibetan wolf. At quite a distance, I found two birds sitting. And when I put the binocular on, they were the northern lapwings. I could never imagine in my life that two northern lapwings would be sitting at 18,000 feet ahead of Guru Dongmar Lake.
Why is that so special? What is the big deal about a northern lapwing?
This bird comes down to an area called Gajol Doba, which is the Tista Dam reservoir, is the Gajol Doba, where in the reservoir the water is about just 2 feet and it's all sandy. So in the winters, these northern lapwings from northern Europe and the Palearctic, they come during winters, and March, April they fly back. So this was in the month of April. So probably they were flying back. Must have got delayed or something. So they found water and they just landed there. So that was one. I mean, you couldn't imagine that it would be that.
And another one that you'd care to share?
Another one I would care to share: blue bearded bee eater.
Oh, really?
Now it's a forest bird.
Yeah.
So in Sukna, my house was though near the forest, but not actually in the forest when I was posted there. So one day I came out with a cup of tea and my kitten in my hand and sat down, and I heard the call. And I couldn't imagine myself. It was sitting on the next tree and it was making a call. So I could never imagine that it will come into the households also. It's a beautiful bird.
And was it because the forest was really on the edge of where
On the edge, on the edge. And the
Yeah.
food brings them closer. Food brings them closer.
Now, talking of birds, there's a lot of concern also about about the way that we are not able to protect flyways or areas under flyways. So I was wondering if you would want to throw light on India's rich flyways, what these are, and what should we do to make sure our birds flourish.
Again, you will call me pessimistic, but first we should look at saving our endemic birds.
Yeah.
The flyways are for the migratories.
Flyways are basically the motorways for birds.
And we are on one of the eastern flyway where the Palearctic and the European birds fly. Either they come to us or through us they move up to Africa or to Sri Lanka or in the southeastern Asia. So we are on that particular flyway. We don't have much of issue except the ducks. Because I'll tell you, in the areas where I belong to, along the Yamuna, Karnal, and etc., people wait for winters, and the ducks are then hunted over there in large numbers. Especially the Brahmani duck is very famous, so they will kill anything, whatever is there for meat part of it. The worst is the Cyprus area. The middle flyway passes through Cyprus, and millions of birds are eaten over there. We had this problem in Nagaland on the Amur falcons, if you remember.
Right.
They were all being eaten by the local people.
Yeah.
And now it has become an epitome of conservation, that not a single bird is killed by those people.
So tell us a bit about that story.
I don't have much of this thing. I've never been to Nagaland to see that bird. These birds are small falcons, smaller than crow. Amur is a place in Siberia. Amur river is there where they breed. So they are called Amur falcon. So after breeding, they fly from there and come to Nagaland, specific parts. These are the grasslands where the grasshoppers grow in that particular time frame. So these birds, they feed on those grasshoppers. It is the protein that they need, because the chicks are also small. They stay in Nagaland for a month or two and they want to gain that weight through that. Now, after gaining that weight, they move to South Africa over the Indian Ocean.
Wow.
over the Indian Ocean.
That's a very huge journey.
And because the winds blow that way, so some of them pass through the this lower part of India, and some of them you see in Pune, those famous photographs of Pune and Mumbai,
Goa.
and even in Goa. So they pass over the India, the peninsular India, and they land in South Africa. By that time, South African grasslands have those grasshoppers coming to size. So then 2 months they feed over there. From there they get up and they come to North Africa. 2 months over there. And from North Africa they are back to Amur. And the most important part is that when they come from Amur to Nagaland, it is the parents who lead. And from Nagaland to South Africa and later, it is the new chicks which lead who have never flown on those routes. So it is in the gene. The scientists have found that gene is in the eye somewhere, which keeps the direction genetically from one generation to the another generation.
Amazing.
Now in Nagaland, they used to put huge nets, catch them and eat them. Then with some assistance from Wildlife Institute, I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman, but they started this system and they did a wonderful thing that is called the getting the community into it. So a story says that there was one white colored falcon, the one which doesn't have that plumage,
Yeah.
leucistic something.
Yeah.
So that bird came and sat on the church one day. And the organizers found a good opportunity and they said, this is the God who has come there. Next year, again he came there. He said, you people are doing good. That is why God is coming. And next year he didn't come. So he said, you people are killing these birds, so he will never come. God is unhappy with you. So the community and the church got together. And today they are the saviors rather than.
Absolutely.
So we got to get the community along if we want to do something. Without community, very difficult.
Even Bharatpur in that sense, all the rickshawalas.
That's a community.
Yeah.
They do. We have like the Chintan village where these demoiselle cranes are coming.
In
They collect,
Rajasthan.
yes, they collect grains and they feed them for 6 months over there. And nobody hands. Yes, the community feeds them, the village feeds them. They don't allow anybody to even go near them. You can click them. But they consider there's a famous song in Rajasthani. They consider that as a bride, new bride, and they have songs. So it is rich into their heritage and culture, and that is how it can be saved. Somebody did with us. Somebody sometime did with us. If you remember, with each of our gods, there is an animal or a bird attached.
Yeah.
So it was done by it was thoughtful thing.
Yeah.
So at least by the name of God, you will not kill it. But we are not even following that. So community culture has to get in.
So before we close, I have a question. Why is there so much, despite the fact that, for many people, especially Hindus, the goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, rides on an owl. But in fact, you constantly listen to how owls are trapped, owls are killed in new buildings where owls stay on a bit longer. Even barn owls are killed. So what's it with owls?
One of my favorite words. You see, it's money. Everything runs around money. So all the nocturnal birds or the nocturnal animals which are not easily seen or you can see their behavior are considered to be demonic. So the owls are nocturnals. Generally people don't see them. Then God has given them a call, that screech. It is so dangerous at night. A screeching owl at night is a problem. Then they have to survive, so they go to the abandoned houses. So we connected to the ghosts and whatever, specters and whatever we call it. So slowly, whatever is not seen is connected to these kind of theories. Even the nightjar in Britain, we not only Indians, they are equally idiots. So nightjar, they used to call it goat sucker.
Oh,
So goat sucker means that they come at night and the goats are there in the barn. So they suck the milk out of goats. I mean that kind of, because it has a broad face. The back of the bill is broad because it has to catch those insects in flight at night.
yeah.
So the bill is quite broad from behind.
Yeah.
They said no, it is to suck the milk out of the goats. So idiocy has no boundary. It can go anywhere. So owls, Lakshmi ki savari. So all the tantrics, they get an idea. So in some houses, an owl is brought on the night of Diwali, and at about 12 o'clock it is cut. What they say is they first beat it up. They say the owl knows the location of the treasure. So it will tell us. Once it doesn't tell us, they cut it. Then they say ki Lakshmi ki savari is killed, so Lakshmi will not go out of this house. She will stay in the house. And that tantric will take everything out of that owl, and he's going to make money out of its nails, its feathers, its tufts, bones, everything is used in that black magic. So he's going to make money. So these owls are sold for more than 1 lakh also.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. It is terrible. But I mean, what can be done?
So before we say bye bye, anything cheerful, happy, optimistic about birds?
Yeah, they are survivors. So they will live. They will live. Maybe. But they are going to live. They have something called flight. We are actually jealous of it. So that flight will take them through. They lived through that Big Bang. These were the only animals which were flying or kind of little bit of flying. So they survived that Big Bang. They will survive this also. My message is that people who are getting involved into birds should not do mistakes what we people did when we started. We must move from watching to loving these birds. We must leave the numbers behind. It's not a subject. It's a live being. It has emotions. It has intellect. It has a life into it. So there's a spirit into it. So we must look at it from that point of view. I mean, see it, click it, identify it, and upload it. And it's end of it. Nobody goes beyond it. So let us go beyond this uploading part. At least when you see a bird, watch it. Okay, you take a photograph, but at least see what it is saying. At least learn what it is doing, why it has come from such a long distance.
Yeah.
What is it doing? The behavior is most important part. But we say among the birders that the ethics begins when I get my photograph.
Yeah.
Before I get my photograph, I am also part of them. The moment I get a good shot, then the ethics start. Oh, don't trouble the bird. Don't go near the bird. Don't destroy the habitat. So we have to do it ourselves. We have to do it ourselves. And if people can change without getting into it, it's a better thing. It's a much better thing.
Yeah. So photographers can be outstanding and give us knowledge, but photographers can disturb birds as well.
It is as good as art and science. Till the time you are using science, you are either a photographer or a scientist. You are not using the imagination, and the soul of the bird is not touched till the time you use the art. So it has to be a combination of art and science.
Yes, absolutely.
The soul of the bird has to be seen through.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, ma'am.